Hello there, this is a Mississippi Traveler. I'm going to share with you today a great macaroni and cheese recipe that I found in one of my Southern Living cookbooks. This is one of my favorite cookbooks. And over the Thanksgiving holidays, my husband and I visited one of his friends in Jackson, Mississippi. And they had some macaroni and cheese that was absolutely wonderful. We ended up eating lunch with them. And I was thinking about it later after I got back home. And I decided to see if I could find a recipe and make some for myself. Because macaroni and cheese is just something I never make. But that was really good. So I wanted to make some for myself. And I did find a recipe. Of course, it's nothing like the macaroni and cheese that we had in Jackson, but this is a very good recipe. So I already see that there's more than one way to make, you know, some good macaroni and cheese. But I think if you try this recipe, you'll like it. Ingredients that you need are very simple. What you need is 2 cups of cheddar cheese, a 1/4 cup of butter or margarine, 1 egg, a 1/4 cup of flour, 2 cups of milk, and 8 ounces of macaroni, and a little salt and a little paprika. So the first thing you want to do is cook your macaroni. So you just add the macaroni to some boiling water, and you let it cook according to the package, which for me is just getting it done. But you don't want to cook it too long or make it mushy or anything like that. So we'll just let that cook, and then we'll make our sauce. Okay, I think that macaroni is ready to come out of that hot water. So I'm just going to drain the macaroni. Just going to let that drain. And just going to sit that on there and just set this aside. Now we want to melt 1/4 cup of butter. Over low heat. So we're melting the 1/4 cup of butter, and then we add a 1/4 cup of flour and stir that until it's smooth. I'll turn that down a little more. So that's a 1/4 cup of melted butter, and we added a 1/4 cup of flour. And we're stirring that until it's smooth. And then we're going to cook this for about a minute, stirring it constantly, you know, pretty frequently there. So once this is cooked for about a minute, we're going to add 2 cups of milk. We're going to gradually add the 2 cups of milk. Oops. Don't spill the milk. And we're going to cook that over medium heat. So we're just going to keep adding the milk. So that's all of the milk, and we're going to cook it until it's thick and bubbly. And we're going to stir it pretty frequently here. The recipe says constantly. As you can see, it's getting thicker. And it's bubbly around the edges, so I think it's time to add the teaspoon of salt. And the cheese. That's 2 cups of cheddar cheese. I like the sharp, so I use the sharp cheddar. And I just buy the shredded cheddar out of the grocery store, and one of those packages is 2 cups. That is the 8-ounce package. Is 2 cups of cheese. So you just stir that until the cheese melts. And then you, the recipe says that you take about 1/4 of this hot mixture and stir it into the egg. And that is 1 egg, 1 beaten egg. So that's an egg that's been beaten, which I've already done. So now I'm just going to take some of the cheese mixture and mix that in. So we just gradually add some of that into the egg mixture. So I think that's enough, probably. Probably more than enough. Okay. And then what you do is you just take all of this, the egg mixture, and you add it back into the rest of the cheese, milk, and flour mixture. So I believe that's to make sure that the egg is well blended and doesn't cook, you know. you know, we don't want scrambled eggs in there. So anyway, so we do that, and then just make sure it's stirred and blended really well. And then what we're going to do is add the cheese sauce to the macaroni. I have quite enough macaroni, you know, for this recipe, but I wanted to go ahead and make it anyway, so I'm going to make do with the little macaroni that I have. But I did make the full sauce for the recipe. So as long as you have your 8 ounces of macaroni, you know, to cook, then you're okay. So I'm not going to use all of the sauce in this little macaroni that I have, but it will be the same. It'll taste the same and everything. So anyway, here we go. Let's see here now. Quite sure how much I'll need, so I'll just have to eyeball it here. And what I'm going to do with the rest of that sauce is I'm going to save it, and I'm going to get some macaroni later, and I'll make another little batch of this. So I think this is enough for this macaroni that I have. So what you do is that you stir in your cheese sauce into the macaroni. And then, and I really think this bowl that I have now is too big for this amount of macaroni. So let me see what I can do here. So what I'm going to do instead is use, I don't have a dish specifically for this size, for this amount of macaroni. So this is what you call improvising. So I thought what I would do, it looks like I thought maybe I could do 3, but it looks like I'll only be able to do 2. So what I'll do is I'll put the macaroni into these little dishes here, and these can go right in the oven. And you do need to you know, lightly grease the dish that you're cooking baking the macaroni in. Yeah, this is about enough for 2 people here. So I've got quite a bit of sauce left there. Yes, I do. Oh, and you do need to, let's see, bake it at 350 degrees. Now, although I'm using these 2 little small dishes, you know, don't let that mess you up, because what I'm doing with these, you can do with just one large dish. It's what I usually do. As I said, I was going to actually put the macaroni and cheese into this dish here, you know, and bake it. But I didn't have quite enough macaroni. Not feel like going out to the store, so here we are. Now, the recipe doesn't call for this. But this is just something I do, you know, when I made this dish. I like to put a little cheese on top of there. So I have a little extra cheese that I put on there. I actually grated this because I only had one pack of the shredded cheese that I had gotten from the grocery store. So this was a block of cheese that I grated earlier, and I'm just going to put a little bit over there. On top. Now you don't have to do this if you don't want to. This is, like I said, I know I'm not the only one that put our own little touches on the recipes that we follow. But everything else is the same. Other than I would be putting this into one big dish. Now the recipe does call for a little paprika to be sprinkled on top of the macaroni and cheese. And I'm going to put a little pepper on there too, you know. I like pepper. So I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit of pepper on top of each one. And then I'm going to sprinkle some paprika over there as well. There we go. It's all set and ready to go into the oven. So I'm going to just put these on this baking sheet so they'll be easy to take out, and I'm going to put them in the oven. So I've placed those into oven that's heated to 350 degrees, and I'm going to cook it for 35 minutes maybe. I don't know, since they're in these smaller dishes. I'll be checking it, you know, to be sure that it's not overcooked. But the recipe says cook it for 35 minutes. Oh, look at that. Just out of the oven. Yum, yum, yum. So this is how it's supposed to look. Well, if you put cheese on top. I put cheese on top the first time I made the recipe, so I'm not sure what it looks like if you don't have that cheese on top. But that's up to you whether you want to add that extra cheese. All right. This is the macaroni and cheese recipe that I wanted to share with you guys. And boy, does it look good, and I know I'm going to enjoy that. Yes, I am. Yes, 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 I am. So do try it, and I know you'll like it. And if you do try it, hey, drop me a line and let me know how you enjoyed it.